Hey, you remember this tour? Because I don't even know how long it's been since I uploaded this. Here's the basic story. Slowbroth and I were gonna co-record because he has a channel that you could go check out. We were gonna try to do it together. It took me a while to realize that just completely failed at happening. And then right after that I was like, well, I'll record it on my own. No, I won't. I'll actually get sick. Excuse me. I'll actually get sick, and for the most part that shouldn't happen anymore, but this ended up taking so long I barely remember this story, but I kind of want to get it up for completeness sake. This is still interesting, and maybe it's just me, but recording kind of gets me in a groove, so I have stuff I want to get to after this, and this will be like a warm-up, I guess. But anyway, it's super late, I know, but I'm still gonna bring it. So, me versus Slowbroth, this is the finals, the last set of the final ORAS PU tour. And game one, I'm going to bring sand, and he's going to bring webs, and sand and webs are not terribly common. I really do like this sand team though. It's been too long. I'm pretty sure I made this for finals. I don't believe I had brought it out before this. Maybe I brought it out versus Stevie, but certainly not before finals. And it's just built around sand. Is just not too common anymore, but I figured sand is a hard anti-offense playstyle. Sand really messes with most playstyles pretty hard. And then you've got the combination of Grumpig, Nasty Plot, HPI Monferno, and Life Orb, Sheer Force, Swords and Small Wild to put a lot of more pressure on balanced and defensive styles. And you know what, let's try sand offense. I really like the team. Not much more to say about than that. Unfortunately, he has webs. Which means that Stoutland and Leafeon and Grumpig, they're all going to be neutered pretty hard. Web's offense is the kind of offense that can kind of go against Sand, because we're both working with speed control, but my entire team is susceptible to webs. And Stoutland will be slower than Zebstrika, and certainly if it's a Scarf Simipour as well, it has the potential to be that. He's also got what looks like one Sashmon and two Sturdymons, which is pretty obnoxious. Just in general to deal with. Don't want to really run into that, but I don't have a win condition. Because Monferno lacks Focus Blast, Boof wants a check to it, so my plan is, make him think I'm not a stupid Monferno set, and then maybe if I can get a Nasty Plot, and Buffon's been weakened because he didn't know that was the Monferno check, then maybe it can go somewhere. That's sort of my late game strategy, but for now, I'm going to lead off with Mawile on Leavanny, just hoping he expects me to be defensive and does something like Magic Code. Also, Mawile in general, it's just not super useful in this matchup. Pretty much everything he has outspeeds it and kills it. Having Sucker Punch is pretty nice as a safety thing, but Vacuum Wave's can hit everything, so I also didn't feel like I needed it. And I wanted to explain that. But he does Magic Coat, which is great for me. I've stopped running Magic Coat on Leavanny, as we'll see later, but still a solid move. Get to catch him with that. He goes Simipour, I'm immediately going to Sucker Punch. Simipour needs to be weakened to be put in Vacuum Wave range. Vacuum Wave range. He's pretty close already, which is great for me, but he's not quite there. So I'm going to go Grumpig. I can tank a hit from this, and not much else. I was hoping to bait in Buffon because I want that Buffon weakened. Instead, it's Crustle. He definitely could have X-Scissored here, because I thought, looking at his team, I was like, he's got Golem for rocks, and that would make Crustle Shell Smash, right? Because Shell Smash likes webs. Shell Smash Crustle, very strong, but still slower than most Scarfers. Not impossible to revenge kill by any means, and webs helps that. So I assumed he'd be Shell Smash, and I went right into Hippopotas. What he ends up doing is going for the knockoff just to weaken Grumpig. And then he's going to reveal that this Crustle is actually rocks. And even Spikes. This is not something I really saw coming, but it tells me I have to be worried about some kind of Golem set. I don't know. And, yeah, he goes for Earthquake as I take him out. And that leaves Hippopotas pretty weakened and knocked off, which means it's no longer going to be a stop to Golem or Buffalon. And as Zebstrika comes in, at this point my game plan's really changed. I don't know what I can do, but I do know that I want Buffalon out of there so I can start spamming moves. Buffalon basically checks everything I have except for Stoutland in Sand really hard, and I don't have a lot to deal with his pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to expect the HP Ice and go into Grumpig, because if I get that right, then I can tank a secondary hit, and he's either forced to... Well, he's forced to what I assume is Volt Switch into Bouffalant, and get weakened by Sand, by Rocks... Okay, not Sand, by Rocks and Psychic. Instead, he reveals that I'm not the only one bringing some weird sets. I posted about this after the tournament, but the Mawile is Sheer Force and Knockoff, which is weird, and Nasty Belt Monferno is pretty weird. He's got mixed Zebstrika, not something you see very commonly. It pretty much only works in like this specific situation where you're hitting something like Grumpig. But yeah, this is just not something I could see coming at all. I'm just going to run into Leafeon, because now that he's at -2, I'm not going to die to Overheat, but this is just like, what? I kind of wanted to pull a double in the Stoutland, but I realized it might not help too much, so I'm just going to X-Scissor. And my basic plan here is like, Death Fodder Hippopotas, go to Stoutland, see what he decides to sacrifice. Stoutland can't sweep him, because 1, Zebstrika is faster, and 2, I need Superpower to kill both Bouffalant and Golem, and it can only kill one of those. Before the attack drop, and then I can't kill the other, if that wasn't evident. So, Hippopotas. Such a funny name, Hippopotas. It's not Hippopotas, I'm pretty sure. Hippopotas goes down. I'm going to go right into Stoutland, and just click the Superpower button, as he decides to sack Bouffalant, which does make sense, because he knows that Leafeon, even if it's Scarf, is going to be slower and die to both Simipour and Zebstrika. And he should know, he should think that Monferno is close combat, so it's not like Bouffalant is going to really be a switch into Monferno. But for me, this is great, because Monferno is not running Focus Blast or Close Combat, or really, a great move to hit Bouffalant. Like, its strongest move versus Bouffalant is going to be Fire Blast, which is pretty stupid. But, I mean, he does make the correct play there. There's no way you can predict that. And he goes into Zebstrika, and this is a roll. It is... I capped it a while back, and now I don't remember. I want to say it's pretty close to a 50-50 roll, but basically, if he wild charges, I'm relying on him just getting, killing himself between Life Orb, Sand, and Recoil. So he's got a Frustration. I can't really do anything about that. All I have to do is leave Stoutland in. Unfortunately, mixed Zebstrika is just not that strong. Doesn't have a good move pool, has to Frustration, and Stoutland is going to tank the hit, which is pretty incredible. So at this point, it's basically a 50-50. If I go Monferno, he goes Golem. Because I'm not close combat or anything, I can't kill Golem. Which means that he gets to just click Banded Stone Edge freely. Unless Leafeon dodges, I will lose. But Monferno can kill Simipour with Vacuum Wave, which is great. If I go Leafeon and he goes Golem, obviously that's great. And if he goes Simipour and I go Leafeon, he's free to click Ice Beam. But again, if he clicks Ice Beam, I have the opportunity to double back into Monferno. So in both cases, if I lose the 50-50, I either double back into Monferno and hopefully he doesn't predict that in Hydro Pump or something. Or if I lose the 50-50, go Monferno on the Golem, then I can still dodge a potential Banded Stone Edge or something. I thought about this for a good while, and I decided the best play is probably Leafeon, because if I get it wrong, I'd rather rely on a double than a dodging Stone Edge. I believe he later told me after that it's actually Weakness Policy Rock Polish Golem. He was also just bringing some funny sets, I guess. But fortunately, you know what, none of that even ends up happening. I do win the 50-50 as he goes Golem, and Simipour is going to be able to take me out, but not able to dodge any kind of priority from Monferno. This ended up being a pretty weird game. If I hadn't gotten the roll with Zebstrika, then I would have had to go into Monferno, kill it, and then he goes into Golem, and then I'd have to double into Leafeon and hope I dodged the rock move or something. So that definitely helped me out of it. It's kind of weird to commentate just because there wasn't really a game plan. It more just ended up being the only trades I could make. I ended up sort of playing out the game. Less of a high-end match, I guess, not much in that respect, which is a little unfortunate. It's just because of the playstyles we brought, Sand Hyper Offense versus Webs Hyper Offense. It was a pretty constricted game. This is going to be a little different. In 2 games of finals, we've seen Sand, Webs, and Baton Pass, which is pretty gross, and also not terribly representative of Ras, but I feel representative of the mindset in that it was a bit of a cancerous metagame at the end. Not unfun by any means, you can have a lot of fun with it, but definitely the potential to be a little bit AIDS. I'm bringing Fire Spam Webs. I brought it versus Miyoka, and I actually thought it might not do too terribly versus Slowbroth, just based on some of the stuff he's been bringing. When I saw Speed Pass, I was pretty happy. I felt like I could deal with Speed Pass. Webs disrupt some stuff a bit, and his fire resists are Rampardos. All three of his offensive mons are the fire resists, not the defensive ones. So that's going to be pretty nice for Fire Spam. Floatzel also may be able to catch the Tangela with a mixed Ice Beam. I'm pretty sure it's mixed Floatzel with Ice Beam. But Webs being Webs, I'm obviously going to lead with Leavanny. And then, the thing about having a game plan for Webs is that in this case he has no remover. I'm obviously going to leave Leavanny, and then anything I might plan out entirely depends on what he leads with and what happens after Leavanny's gone. So, my general game plan is looking sort of like break with one fire, kill with the other, because his fire resists are really quite lacking, especially Ninetales. Can't go into too much detail beyond that, but when I see Clefairy, I am very happy. Because, I guess he assumed, like, the old standard set for Leavanny, the one that does not carry knockoff, which I'm immediately going to do, because it lets me remove his Violet. And Clefairy is not technically a fire resist, but in practice it is a fire resist, and it's not a fire resist I have to deal with now. So he's going to go right to Combuskin. And my plan is sort of go directly into Chatot. Not really bothering to calc, which is just stupid on my part. Because he's going to protect, and I'm still faster. I'm Scarf Chatot. I can Boom Burst. What's really the problem here? I don't see a problem. But I don't calc anything, and this was just rather silly, and I don't know why. Because I'm going to Boom Burst, and Fire Blast just straight up kills me as he lives the Boom Burst, and that's just not something I expected. My assumption was, if Boom Burst doesn't kill him, he's max HP, and then max HP can't kill with Fire Blast. One of those two things is wrong, and I'm not sure what, because I didn't bother to calc, because it doesn't really matter. I didn't really just check out anything, and he's going to be able to pass 2.5 times speed and a substitute to whatever he wants. So I look at my team and decide my game plan is I still want to win with fires, and also Nasty Plot Mr. Mime just generally puts on a lot of pressure if I can get up a Nasty Plot or maybe Behem. Floatzel is just the least valuable right here. Gorbis kind of checks it, Tangela's going to check it, Behem's going to check it, Clefairy might live a hit even without a Violet and be able to Thunder Wave. Floatzel is what I don't need. So I'm going to go to Floatzel to break the sub and just scout what he passes to. He could be passing to Gorbis, Rampardos, or Behem, and I don't know. And then whatever he passes to is going to kill Floatzel. I just need to see what. So he ends up deciding Gorbis, which is fine, because if he Shell Smashes, even if he lives the Life Orb Frustration, he's going to be in range of Mach Punch. You can't do that. So as soon as he kills Floatzel, I can go right into the Life Orb Nasty Plot Mr. Mime. I'm going to have to sacrifice it just to put Gorbis in range of Mach Punch, which is slightly unfortunate, but that's fine with me. Like, this situation just generally works out just fine. I'm able to go Monferno, and even though it's looking at pretty terrible 6-3, it just doesn't really matter. He doesn't opt to save Gorbis going to Behem. He's just going to play it safe going to Behem now, because Gorbis wasn't useful at all. I'm immediately going to Flare Blitz, because looking at the situation, before I got the burn, obviously, Ninetales can absolutely sweep him with ease. Behem is really the only check to it that he might have, so I'm just going to need to put a lot of pressure on it with Monferno and Leavanny. Swordsdance Leavanny also has the potential to win if he doesn't realize that it doesn't have X-Scissor for Tangela. It's Swordsdance knockoff, Leaf Blade, and Sticky Webs, which is just a set I wanted to try out as, like, if I don't need webs, if they're kind of useless, or if I have Leavanny around afterwards, you know, it's actually a pretty strong Mon. I mean, Leafeon outclasses as a Swordsdance Grass type. It's slightly faster and much stronger, but it's worth a shot. Anyway, the point is, I just need to pressure Behem as he goes into it and just spams Recover. I don't have Swords Dance, unfortunately, because it is Stealth Rock Monferno. The burn is going to make things slightly easier. I definitely had a win plan without it, but because of that burn, he cannot spam Recover on Monferno. That's just not going to work. So he's going to have to switch out, go into Combuskin, sack it to the Flare Blitz, and then I think, for whatever reason, he ends up going back into Behem or something. Like, he knows he has to be terrified of Ninetales right here. For the record, even with Stealth Rock up, Ninetales Energy Ball is only a 50-50 to kill Rampardos. But at this point I realized even if he recovers, I'll be able to Flare Blitz him again. I'm not really losing anything. So I am going to set up Stealth Rock, because I want that 50-50 on Rampardos in worst case scenario. He ends up going to Clefairy's Deathwater, trying to preserve what health BHM has, and just dies to Flare Blitz because I'm adamant and he has no Violet. So basically, now I can send in Leavanny, because Leavanny forces out Rampardos, and Ninetales can Nasty Plot on, well, Leavanny forces out Rampardos. It also scares out Tangela if he thinks I have X's, or maybe. If he went Tangela here and he had HP Fire, or like he had HP Ice and Synthesis or something, then I wouldn't have been able to Nasty Plot on him with Ninetales, because I wouldn't have wanted to get Sleep Powdered. That would have been way too risky for me. So I'm gonna go Leavanny, hoping that he leaves BHM in, because I know his BHM is no special attack. Ninetales can actually set up a Nasty Plot on it, even after rocks, even with Analytic, which is great. And if for whatever reason I don't get to do that, then it's all down to the 50-50 roll on Rampardos after Stealth Rock. But what's going to end up happening is I Swords Dance, because I want him to kill me, because I want BHM to be in, and if he Calm Minds, I have to be able to immediately kill him, because Calm Mind will kill Ninetales, and it'll probably take a Fire Blast. And at this point, I can go Ninetales and get up that Nasty Plot. And I mean, I thought about this whole situation super hard, and in the end, I guess the game looked pretty basic in the outcome, but I don't know. I went through so many scenarios, and this actually went pretty perfectly, as well as I could have hoped for. Ninetales got the Nasty Plot, I removed his fire checks, and all I had to do was hit one Fire Blast, the minimum amount of inaccurate moves I have to use, and I hit that Fire Blast. So it was a pretty interesting final series against Slowbroth. I don't know, it definitely felt easier in the outcome, but it was probably one of the more tense series I had the whole time because of just how tough it was. But some really cool games. I'm glad we showed off some innovative stuff and didn't just go back to the Bronzor Altaria teams, which I would have been fine facing. I basically made my teams to sort of like annoy what standard stuff you have. You know, this is Nasty Plot HP Ice Ninetales, the other team is Nasty Plot HP Ice Monferno, because I guess I'm not terrified of Altaria. I don't know. Point is, I kind of prepared to beat down some non-standard stuff, and it looks like Slowbroth did too, and that ended up making the series a lot more colorful than I remember or as PU, you know? Or, like, PU's where I got into Mons this gen, started in XY, moved up, got Council and Oras, and it's just weird seeing it go. And I know Gen 7's been here, and it didn't feel like anything, but this tour kind of made me reflect. It was fun. Anyway, a little bit of emotion aside, because getting emotive about Mons is just dumb. I hope you guys enjoyed this ongoing tour series. I've got some other stuff planned. PU Classic is going on right now, and in between running the entire spreadsheet for points entry, I am actually playing in it, and so those games might come up. I've also got the OM Grand Slam playoffs, which is probably more going to be for the OM people that I know, but whatever. I'll still keep some stuff coming at least over the summer, and then with college coming up, I have no clue. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed.